Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans, of 1973-76 Carryover League. We are back in the American League in the postseason tournament, second round action, trying to remove 3 more teams of the American League. Maybe it's just not of the quality of play that we have in the National League. We do have a series here with the Rangers and the Brewers. I'll just go into this thing. Let's just go to what the needs are. The National League is set with a final 8, the 4 leaders of their division, plus really quality Giants, Phillies, Mets, and Pirate teams. American League field, we began with these 8 teams. The Twins knocked out the Angels. They are one of the final 4 in the tournament round. The other seats are from a year ago. Let's go back to the records. We decided to play Rangers next because they're 2 under 500 with the worst record of the remaining 6 teams. And Milwaukee is one of the best teams at +2 with Ohio +2. Twins have already got to +3. And Brewers have an outside chance if they sweep and sweep again to get to a tie at the top of the division with the tiebreaker to be determined. So that's the kind of outrageous odds and ultimately not relevant anymore. Let's show you what happened. Game 1, opening up in Texas. Jim Colburn and the Brewers against Steve Perzanowski of the Rangers. And the Rangers have themselves a day, folks. They are hitting and walking and scoring runs. The Rangers were a playoff team a year ago. They actually were eliminated in the division round of the playoffs, believe it or not, as they were a scrappy bunch. They ultimately finished the year with 25 wins and 22 losses. Hasn't gone as well this year. They just don't have enough innings. My God, they're innings starved. I mean, they don't have no one who can pitch on 3 days rest, and that's been the struggle all year. Don't need it today, though. As they batter Jim Colburn, who was having a good year until he went to Texas. Colburn, 5 innings, 11 hits, 10 runs, 7 earned. Final score is 12-2, and Perzanowski got a complete game simply to say, hey, just keep pitching, kid. 12-2. If we win 12-11, we're still good. Just keep pitching. And the Brewers just faded at the end of this one. So the Rangers got to save some arms in the bullpen and pack those innings into future games. That's great news. Game number 2. Remember, the Rangers start, a full 2 games back here. So they have to win 4 out of 5. So that's why we had just made kind of an assumption the Brewers were going to win this thing. Just maybe. But alas, game 2. Scrappy baseball or running out of player baseball. Depending on how you look at it, just running out of bodies to play and participate in a baseball game that was otherwise very interesting, very exciting. We start with Bill Travers, a lefty. The Rangers think that they can beat this guy up because they're really good against lefties. I got some news for you. Bill Travers is actually pretty good. He's got a 2.80 ERA and can pitch on 3 days rest, something that you guys don't have. He battles Jim Umbarger, who's trying. Let's just say that. 3rd inning, back-to-back doubles by Kurt Bavacqua and Sixto Lezcano. It's 1-0. 6th inning, George Scott, 2-run dinger. It's 3-0 Brewers. Now, Travers, meanwhile, is putting some guys on, but the Rangers can't bring them home. Till the 7th. They get a Len Randall single stolen base. Wild pitch gets in the 3rd. But you have Hargrove and McMullen walks. You get a strikeout of Toby Harrah. But lefty-lefty matchup, Travers Rader actually favors Rader. Travers stays in there because he's really good for that reason. And Rader gets the double and a 2-run score. Now you got Tom Grieve, Burrows, and Frank Howard. Then they go to the righty, Bill Champion. He gets a strikeout to end the inning. 8th inning, the Rangers do piece together the tie run. A leadoff single by Burrows. There's a wild pitch in there. There's a sac bunt in there. And then an RBI single, Len Randall. We got a 3-3 tie, a scoreless 9th. Bonus baseball extra innings. By the way, hats off to Bill Hands. As Jim Umbarger, the starter, hit the point of weakness in the 6th inning, which means somebody has got to finish this game even if they lose and conserve the arms of Paul Lindblad and Steve Foucault if they're winning. Well, that's what Bill Hands does. He pitches 3 2/3 scoreless. Then with the game tied, then they can roll into Lindblad and Foucault. So they start the 10th with Lindblad. With a runner at second, we're using that rule to tax the Ranger bullpen even more, since we only use the old traditional rules of baseball when we have Hall of Fame matchups. We certainly didn't have that today. But Lindblad, with runner at second, he gets George Scott to fly out, Johnny Briggs to ground out, and Ollie Brown to ground out. The Brewers counter with their all-star closer, Don McMahon, who has a scoreless 9th. In the 10th, though, with the runner at second, Tom Grieve singles. He puts runners on the corners, but that's all right. McMahon gets Burrows to pop out, Boots Day to pop out, and it comes down to Joe LaHood or Dave Nelson with the base open. He decides to deal to LaHood, and LaHood catches a double to walk the game off in 10. 4-3 Rangers. The other aspect of the game was the insane number of injuries. George Scott got injured in that 10th inning. Tim Johnson had to play 3rd, and Bavacqua had to play 1st. Toby Harrah got injured, so Len Randall had to move over from 3rd to play short. Dave Nelson got injured at second baseman. They had no other infielders left. They had 4 outfielders, so they put LaHood in left, Boots Day in center, Burrows in right, and Tom Grieve, an outfielder, to finish the game at second base. No balls were hit to second base, so there was no judge and jury on that. Rangers outlast the Brewers, and it was a competitive game of something. Competition, it could have been a good ping pong game, you know? They're fun. That's competitive. Could have been a good game of checkers or something. I mean, it's a good baseball game. It's just, I don't know. It's just not like National League baseball. I'll tell you that, folks. My goodness. Game 3 now. We are in Milwaukee. And let me get you to the end of this thing. The Rangers rip off a 3rd straight win. And here's the other thing. The wind is blowing out in Milwaukee. And boy, did it ever blow out, folks. There were some slobber knockers. Donnie Brooks played in Milwaukee in this era, with the wind blowing out, in the Gorman Thomas era and so forth. Jeff Burrows gets homer 1 of 5, fly ball in the 1st inning with 2 outs. It's a 2-run homer. Toby Harrah gets homer 1 of 4, fly ball the rest for a 3-run bomb in the 8th inning. Those low probabilities give the Rangers 5 of the 6 runs. And yes, the Rangers are getting that horseshoe up the you-know-what for good, bad, or worse. They also draw a lot of walks. And they confounded the Brewers. One interesting part of this game was, and this should, this must be noted, Steve Hargan was the Rangers starter, a starter 6. They had a 4-0 lead. In the 5th inning with a 4-0 lead, he gives up a single to Bavacqua. He gives up a walk to Pat Kelly. He gives up a 3-run homer to Darryl Thomas. So a 4-0 lead is now a 4-3 game. Then he walks George Scott. Then he gives up a homer to Darryl Porter. Now they're losing 5-4. There's no movement in Texas bullpen. Why? Because it's the 5th inning. They just don't have enough arms to cover the rest of the stretch. Bill Hands went 3 2/3 yesterday. They like to use Lindblad and Foucault to win games if they can. Now they're losing. So it is David Clyde, gulp, who was asked to get, maybe 4 outs. Turns out, David Clyde went 2 whole innings, giving up just 2 hits and 1 run. That's like a 4.50 ERA. That's not bad. And it's Foucault who comes in the 7th inning. Steve Foucault. Normally he's the closer. He came in the 7th inning just to see if we can get the last 4 outs, possibly the last 7. If the Rangers rallied, and they did. They rallied with 13 hits and 9 walks today. The Brewers had 13 hits and 4 walks. So the Rangers sent 5 extra men to the plate. They caught those homer fly balls. Milwaukee is confused, perplexed, but ultimately not that talented anyway. And I have no idea what's going to happen today. Brewers might just get hot and win the next 2 games and win the series. Who knows? We got Rangers, Brewers, a Game 5, Game 4, excuse me. If there is a Game 5, it would be back in Texas. Brewers need 2 wins. Rangers need 1 at this point. And to show you that, I guess, let's go to the overall standings in the American League. What does this all mean? Well, the Brewers, yeah, they had this chance of sneaking past the Twins, maybe catching the White Sox. That's dashed. They'd like to win a couple games, be a game over 500, and play in the next round of the tournament as one of the top 8 teams in the American League if possible. And the Rangers, after all the struggles this year, finally have a winning record. And look at that. They're only a half game behind the Oakland A's. As kooky as this might sound, the Rangers could win today, and they'd lose a tiebreaker to Oakland, which is fine, but then they could play in the next round, and if they somehow survive the next round, they could push Oakland into a wild card spot. I mean, that's how kooky as this all could turn out to be. With, the probabilities not going that well, plus they don't have home field either in this game, but stranger things have happened in the American League where you're better off just putting names in a hat. The A's certainly can't believe they're in this predicament here. I mean, they just lost a series to the White Sox 3-2, and maybe they should have thought of playing better in that series and being 20-16 by beating the White Sox in 5, and they didn't do it. And the A's, don't. It's sort of like that when you go to work and you got a pink slip and you're like, what's this? There it is, Oakland. I mean, you're just you're the Dynasty A's. You're trying to be a team who has repeated as champion in a carryover league, which I've never had before in 20, 30 years of doing this. I've never had a team win back-to-back World Series. Kind of seeing why now, right? Kind of seeing exactly why that might be a thing. But let's just play baseball. That's what we're here to do. Good, bad, or otherwise. The suddenly red-hot Texas Rangers go to County Stadium in Milwaukee. Today's pitching matchup, Jim Bibby, the ace, in air quotes, of the Texas Rangers. He won 9 games in 180 innings in 1973 with a 3.24 ERA. Puts a lot of lefties on base with walks. The Brewers have a lot of lefties, 6 of them in their lineup. And it's Jim Colburn, who was having a pretty good year for the Brewers until Game 1 when he inexplicably ran into the Ranger buzzsaw. 20-game winner, 1973, 314 innings. No, we are not going to waive the extra inning rule. It favors the Brewers, and they're the home team, and they're not going to have any of that. They're going to put the runner at second, so forth and so on. Let's get started from Milwaukee. Leading off for the Rangers is Toby Harrah. 311 strikes out. Mike Hargrove, 35 is a base hit. Lenny Randall, 49 is a K. That's a great out on the Colburn card on 4-9. Burrows, 4-5 against a righty. He's better against lefties than righties, Colburn. Triple 1-3. And Jeff Burrows catches another first inning magical miracle. Miracle magic for Burrows. He catches the 3 triple, which is an RBI. 1 zip. Joe LaHood. 1-7 is a K. And we can say the Brewers are 27 outs away from being eliminated. Bottom of the first, it's Pat Kelly. 58's a strikeout. Daryl Thomas, 47 is a walk. He is an ace stealer. Sundberg's catching. Let's think about that. Let's let George Scott hit away. He's the best player in your team. 2-4 center. And with 2 outs, Daryl Porter walks a lot. So we'll let him swing away. 54. Third X. Randall at third's a 326. No, it's an error. Yeah. Oh boy. 2 outs. John Briggs. 57, he strikes out. Top of the second. Dave Full Nelson. 38 is a fly ball to left. Boots day. His boots are made for, you guessed it, walking. He's at first for Jim Sundberg. 47, single to right field. And Boots is made for stopping at second. Won't take on the Lezcano arm. First and second, 1 out. Ken McMullen. 1-2. Yep, you got yourself a Lomax. Right in time there for your Milwaukee Brewers, as they try and get back in the series. 6-0 Lezcano, 44 off of Bibby. Homer, 1-2-18, and it's gone! 6-0 Lezcano. More homers to come in this decade for he and his True Blue Brew crew, which is still bubbling down in AAA, I guess. Steve Hovley, 59, he walks. Tim Johnson, 19 Ks. And Kurt Bavacqua blowing some bubbles here. Double 1-2. It's a base hit. Runners on the corners, 1 out for the Reverend Pat Kelly. 1-4 flies to right. We got a 1-1 thriller. Sure. In the third. Toby Harrah, 312. Lomax. Mike Hargrove, 35. He gets that single again for the second time. Len Randall, 2-8. That's a base hit, ... Hargrove gets the third. On the corners, 1 out. Jeff Burrows. Have to hold Lenny Randall. Good speed. Playing back. Hoping for double play. Jeff Burrows. 2-8's a K. And with 2 outs, it's Joe LaHood. 111 for LaHood is a... hold everything. 111 is short A+. You're still holding Len Randall. He shoots it through the hole there. Where you're holding the runner, shade the runner, so that is the base hit. And they get a run. And Randall ends up at third base 2-1. Now they got Dave Half Nelson. 46, again off of Colburn. Double 1-12, base hit. Boy, these Rangers, you saw the triple in the first, you saw the plus here. And now they get a 2-out hit off the Colburn card, who's kind of confused right now at the scoreboard. First and third again with 2 outs. Boots day. And his boots are made for Sky in the right field. 3-1. Bottom of the third. It's Daryl Thomas. 62, first C. If you're wondering about some of the Brewer names, Pat Kelly wasn't a Brewer. Daryl Thomas wasn't a Brewer. You have Steve Hovley, was probably a Royal, might have been a Brewer. And then Jim Slayton, Don Wilson, Al Downing, Don McMahon, they were brought in as free agents just because the Brewer named players have cards, but they're just not any good. I mean, your Gorman Thomases and your, there's no Gantner, there's no Molitor, there's none of the late 70 Brewer players are developed at this point. I think Robin Yout's like 18 years old, so it's just not there yet. They're the baby Brewers, and so they have some free agents taking roster spots for him. George Scott, 210, rolls a short. Daryl Porter, 1-9, triple 1, base hit. And John Briggs, 35. Let's take a look at John Briggs. Johnny Briggs brought some OPS to the Phillies and the Brewers during this time. A left-handed bat with a little bit of speed and base running. Not pretty bad defensively in the outfield. Didn't even have much problem with left-handed pitchers either. So he's a nice everyday playing DH for this time. 3.5 is one of John Briggs' 18 homers in 1973. And we got a 3-3 tie. The pendulum swings to the home team. Lescano, 47 off Bibby's a walk. And Steve Hovley, 312 grounds to first. Let's start over. It's 3-3 ties. We go to the fourth. And the teams have sent the same number of runners to the plate. So number 8 hitters will start the inning. Jim Sundberg, 211. Walks. Ken McMullen, 611. Pitcher X, Colburn, can you feel it? Of course, it's an E0. I don't roll E0 home pitchers. It's a GBA. And back up top to Toby Hara, 58. Flies to left. Now, if you're an E0 road pitcher, I will roll to see if you can get a single or a ground ball C. It's one of the home field advantages that's built into the game. Tim Johnson, 1-9 is a K. Kurt Bevacqua, 56 is a K. And Pat Kelly, 39 grounds to first. Well, it's what you do, we do. Look at that. They get 2 runs, they get 2 runs. They go 3 up and down, they get 3 up and down. We go to the 5th. It's Mike Hargrove, 2-5, second. Len Randall, 5-10, catcher's X. Porter's a 3E9, makes the play. And Jeff Burrows, 5'10", catcher's X, 3'9", makes the play again. There we are. Bottom of the 5th in Milwaukee. Let's pause a moment. First station. Identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
The Brewers, are often sort of like an anonymous team. It's like, oh yeah, the Brewers are in the league. I forgot about that. Are they any good? I don't know. I can't remember. They had a winning record. How'd they get there? I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, it's George Scott and other guys. And so, yeah, I mean, I know the bad teams. So I can tell you about the bad teams. But the Brewers are sort of like this invisible team in our league. And they're suddenly in the playoff hunt. Yeah, there you go. And that's where we're at today. It's 3-3. Right in the mix of this thing. Daryl Thomas, 1-6. It's a walk. He is an ace stealer. Summer's got a -2 arm. Let's do something daring and steal a base. What do you say there, Daryl? He steals a base. He earns his paycheck. This is one of the better Daryl Thomas cards as an everyday player before he becomes the utility man for the Dodgers later on. He's at second for George Scott. 1-8. Let's take a look at your MVB. The MVB most valuable Brewer, George Scott, 1973, a .306 average, 24 home runs, a 1 first baseman. Probably was in the All-Star game as the lone representative if I was guessing. I might be wrong, but I'd put him in the All-Star game. He's great. I mean, he was a 1 third baseman for Boston, but he often played third base for whatever reason back in that time. And 1-8 is your single to center field. We're going to run Daryl Thomas. He's got wheels. He's a 16. You got boot stay -1. We're running anyway. We're trying to run into this to this win is what we're trying to do. He scores on a 10, and the aggressive Brewers take a 4-3 lead. We're in there. Once we're down 3-1. Darrell Porter, 2-7's a base hit to right field. Scott will not get thrown out with no one out at third. So first and second, no one out. John Briggs. If you're wondering about Jim Bibby losing effectiveness, you're just going to have to sit and watch. He's going to keep on pitching for quite some time. He's a starter 8. He ain't going anywhere. John Briggs, 47. There's a walk. Do we have a bases loaded walk in Mr. Bibby's future? Probably. Yeah, probably. Les Cano, bases loaded, nobody out. A Bunner, they got to bring it up. 110, base hit left field. This seems like station to station to me. Yep. Yeah. We're just going to keep rolling, turning the cards over, see what we can get. It's like turning the arm, turning the crank. The one-arm bandit. The Jim Bibby one-arm bandit here. See how many runs we can pile up. It's now 5-3. Bases loaded. Steve Hovley, 45. Triple 1-6. They get a sac fly, and there's 6-3. First and second, Tim Johnson. 47, there's another walk. Reloading the bases. Still don't have that bases loaded walk yet. Kurt Bevacqua, 46. There it is. Bases loaded walk. 7-3. Bibby's just getting started here, folks. We already did our David Clyde thing, and yeah, I think at this point, Mr. Bibby needs to eat some innings if this thing were to go back to Texas. We got the bases loaded, 1 out for Pat Kelly. 46, double 1 of 5. Oh no, he catches a 2. He caught the 2 on the double 1 of 5 fly ball. Mix in some bad luck with bad pitching, and you get this. And yeah, that's where we're at here in the American League. This is a double. And the patient Brewers are just going to continue going station to station, just like that David Bowie record. Second and third, 1 out. They bat around. How many? It's point of weakness if you bat around by the 5th inning and put a million men on base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, I'm not gonna. No, I'm gonna just make a judgment call and say he's not at the point of weakness, even though he's still pitching here in the 5th inning. Daryl Thomas. 2-9, base hit left field. Pat Kelly. The Rangers are like, run! He might get thrown out the plate. So we're gonna run Pat Kelly, and hold on with 1 out. I think he got thrown out the plate. No, Pat Kelly's a 17. He scores. It's a 2-run single. So the 8 guys who didn't get out in the inning have all scored. It's now 11-3. So what are you guys up to out there in TV land? What's going on? George Scott, 46, another walk. And Bibby's he's looking over going, pretend to throw it underhand. Just Daryl Porter, 47, there's another walk. And we got the bases still loaded with 1 out. John Briggs, 2-6. Center B question mark, and the Brewers are like, nah, it's okay. We'll stay here. We're not going to tag up. We got enough. 11-3. Lascano, 4-10. Third X. Please throw over to third base. Come on, Lenny. Randall. Oh no, he makes an error. Well, now the runs will start to be unearned for Mr. Bibby. That's a good sign. And Steve Hovley. 67 is a K. Rangers. They need 1 win, and they are smartly going to play for a Game 5 at this point and making sure they've got every switch they can, which means their all-star closer, Steve Foucault, and Paul Lindblad are going to stay in the bullpen playing Uno while Jim Bibby works through another inning or two. So, top of the 6th, 12-3. Let's get through this. Joe LaHood, 68, lines to short. Dave Nelson, 58, flies to left. Boots Day, 68, lines to short. Bottom of the 6th. We'll give you 3 batters, and then we'll go to... I guess we can go back to Clyde and Hands, some sort of combination of that. Tim Johnson, 6'10", second X. 3'12". I just don't have position players who can pitch. I mean, I guess they could. But I just don't have no way of accumulating their stats on the spreadsheet. That's why we have 20-man rosters. This is a competitive reason. Don't screw the Brewers, is what I say. It's like the Rangers were dealt this roster, and the Brewers demand that, no, you play the 20 cards you drafted. And if you get lit up like a Christmas tree today, that's on you. So the Brewers have no sympathy. They're down 0-3 in this series as Kelly grounds out. 12-3 game. And you have a couple individual innings coming up, so we'll get Bibby. He got through the 6th, as painful as that is to say. And you just have a couple of single innings. That's not a big deal. We'll have Clyde pitch 1. We'll have Hands pitch another. And then Lindblad and Foucault, they can go deep into Game 5. They can pitch 2 or 3 innings each. So that's what the Ranger strategy is at this point. Colburn continues with a 12-3 lead. Jim Sundberg, 66, flies to right. Cam McMullen, 47 singles. Toby Harrah, 1-6. Homer 1 of 4. Caught it yesterday, not today. Flies to left. Mike Hargrove, 38. Flies to right. Bottom of the 7th. This will be Clyde first, and then we'll go Hands, I guess. David Clyde in the 7th. He was pretty bad, as you can imagine. He just graduated high school a few weeks ago. It's 1973. He's 7-10. Wrong card. Do that again. He just graduated high school a few weeks ago. He's 4-8 with a 5.01 ERA in 93 innings in 1973. David Clyde. All right. And it's Daryl Thomas. 45, short X. Tobihara gives up a single. George Scott, 2-8, double play ball. That's good. Daryl Porter, 43, left X. Lahoud's a 3-7. He caught the ball. 12-3 in the 8th. Colburn. Let's eat another inning here. So you've got your full bullpen for game 4. Game 5. Len Randall, 1-9. Grounds the 3rd. Burrows, 54. Lines are short. And Joe Lahoud, 2-6. Triple and a 5. Gets it. Maybe Colburn will go for the complete game to make up for getting lit up in game 1. How about that? Dave Nelson, 1-9. Grounds the 3rd. All right, Bill Hands will come on in the 8th inning. One of the advantages, this needs to be mentioned here, one of the advantages the Rangers have, because of how they have had to utilize so many of their pitchers in emergency situations, they could win the Commissioner Award for utilizing roster. They've used their bench and their pitching more than any other team presently. And if you finish, we compute that number by the end of the year, and before the playoffs begin, if you are the best team doing that, you get a compensation pick in next year's draft, which is the first pick of the 2nd round, the 33rd pick in the draft. So that, right now, is in the hands of the Texas Rangers, and that's something. They're not tanking, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that could really help this team get an extra player and get an extra pitcher on this team, which they desperately need. So Bill Hands will come on in the 8th. Bill was 7-10 with a 3.49 ERA and 142 innings for the Twins. He'll pitch the 8th, John Briggs. 3-7 is a single on a 12, can't catch it. Lescano, 2-8 short. Steve Hovley, 2-6, pops to 3rd. Colburn's going for the complete game, giving up just 3 runs today. Boots Day, 67, pops out. Jim Sundberg, 33, right field. And McMullen, 46, double. Thanks, Ken. Double. 2 outs, Tobihara, 46, double 1 and 12, another double. Thanks, guys. Thanks. One more out, please. Thank you. If you can, please. Thanks. Like Hargrove. There you go. Thanks, Mike. 210, pitcher. There's your game, finally. 12-4, meaning that with 3 games to 1, the teams are tied with 500 records. So game 5, a team will advance to game over 500, and a team will be eliminated a game under 500. Colburn gets the win, Bibby gets the loss. We'll have the box score for this debacle, and then the results of game 5 back in Arlington. So stay tuned. All right, folks, here's the box score of the game you just saw. The Brewers blowing out Texas. Final score is 12-4. Jim Bibby forced into having to eat innings when he clearly had nothing to conserve the arms for the 5th game. We're all hands on deck for the Rangers. Yeah, that kid could work during this decade. Of course, you don't want to ruin the guy's arm, but don't feel bad. Jim Bibby will win a World Series for the Pirates in '79. It's just he was stuck in a lousy position. Gave up 9 walks and 9 hits and 12 runs. So that's just going to ruin his overall stats for the year. And Jim Colburn, after getting lit up in game 1, 12-2, he comes back with a complete game victory, 12-4, which sets up game 5. After the 12-4 loss, we've got game 5 in Texas. 12-4 Rangers! How do you do that? How do you go from a 12-4 home win to a 12-4 home win with flipping the teams? That's exactly what happened. Bill Travers of the Brewers against Steve Perzanowski, who is the series MVP with 2 wins, a complete game win, 7 shutout innings today. Let's just go to the end of the game and finish it. After 7 shutout innings, they brought in Lindblad for an inning. They brought in Foucault of an inning because they just want to end the game. Lindblad gives up a grand slam to make, and that's the 4 runs. So that's how that ends. We talked about how Travers was really good in game 2. 6 shutout innings, confusing the Rangers. Rangers juggled the sluggers a little bit. They moved Frank Howard into the 3 spot from the 5 spot. After a Harrow walk and a Raider single, 3-run bomb, big guy. It what could have been his final game in his career. Frank Howard. This is the last year of the Frank Howard card. And this could have been the final game if the Rangers would have lost. But he hits a 3-run homer. In the 4th inning, Tom Grieve with a 2-run homer. More runs pile up. 7th inning, by now, after chasing Travers in the 3rd, Jim Slayton pitching 3 innings, a lefty Kevin Coble. Just to add insult to injury, Frank Howard in the 7th inning, 2-run bomb, Frank Howard. 2 for 5, 2 homers, and 5 RBIs. Dave Rader, 3 for 3, 4 RBIs. Tom Grieve, a 2-run homer in this one. Rangers pummel the Brewers after getting embarrassed on TV. It's like the Rangers are doing this anonymously, folks. You haven't seen anything from them. They've ripped off, they've beaten down the Brewers 4 times when you're not watching. But as always seems to happen when I flip the YouTube on, you get the opposite logic result. The team that was getting humbled flips it around, and the Brewers got that nice win, but then they went right back to their struggles against the Rangers in the Game 5. 12-4 win. Rangers advance, the game over. Brewers season ends a game under. What does it all mean? Let's take a look at the tournament. And the first thing I'm going to do is I got to sneak back here, do something sneaky with you folks. I'm going to go back to last year. Last year's postseason tournament. Check this out. I want to go and follow the Texas Rangers scenario. Last year, in the same area of the spreadsheet, they had to play the Blue Jays. In a simple best of 5, they beat the Blue Jays 3-2. They were 18-16. Look at that record. 18-16 a year ago. So that put them in the postseason tournament as the worst team 8. And they beat Baltimore. The Baltimore Orioles, they beat them 2-1, which put them in the playoffs as a wild card team. Then, in the wild card round, your Rangers, they faced another American League East team, the Red Sox. They beat the Red Sox 3-1. That put them in the divisional round against the big bad Oakland A's. And you know what? Oakland won that 4-2, but they pushed them. The Rangers pushed them, and their season ended 25 wins, 22 losses. Had to bring that into context now, which is why I saved this information and can look at it again the following year. And now let's take a look at this year. This is live. This is what's just happened. The Rangers were 2 under 500. They needed to beat the Brewers 4-1. They beat the Brewers 4-1. They're 19-18. At this point, they're just a half a game worse than where they were a year ago. Presently, we have them stuck at the worst seed, a game over 500. This is going to all change. These guys and these guys are continuing their seasons. We don't know who's going to be here yet. Baltimore won't be. Baltimore's clinched their division. This could be Boston, though. That could be Boston or the Yankees. It could be Boston, the Yankees, or the Ohio players at this point, or the Expos. The Expos actually are here from a year ago. They're all still alive. But you see, it's setting up, folks. And check out something else we have to look at here. Look at this crazy... This is live, folks. The A's lost 3-2 to the White Sox. This is no joke, folks. No joke at all. Should the Rangers beat down, in air quotes, their opponent, whoever they play, 2 straight, if the math supports that. I don't know if the math will support that. Because they're only a game over 500. They might end up playing the Twins, or 3 over. They might need to beat that team 3 straight, or 3-1, or 4-0, something like that. Don't know what the math's going to be until we play more baseball. But if that were to happen, let's say the Rangers had to win 3 straight, they're going to win the division, as the Oakland A's are just watching. They don't have to play. They're in first place. And the first place teams like the White Sox and A's, they just sit and watch what happens around them. The A's could fall into a wild card. That would be stunning in the American League. The Brewers are gone with the Royals. And then we still have these other matchups to play. The Red Sox at 500, playing the Expos, a game under 500. The Yankees, a game under 500, playing this Ohio team next. 2 games over 500. Here's another little story while we're on this subject. These guys were the worst team in the league a year ago. They had the first overall pick in the draft and then improved Vida Blue with it. And they've had some good starting pitching with Vida Blue and Doc Ellis and Rudy May, Lynn McLaughlin. So that would be a kooky story for the American League as well. There's a reason they call them the senior circuit and the junior circuit, folks. Yeah, this is why. Any event, break up your Texas Rangers needed to win 4 out of 5 and figured out how to do it in a very unorthodox way, but they took care of the Brewers 4 games to 1. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.